Girls Sews, my name's Sarah. Thanks for joining me today for episode 9 of my size inclusive Sewing Bee pattern roundup. It's going to be a quick one today because I am full of cold, but I have got a few nice patterns for you. So this week was 1920s week. Again, I thought it was like a fun theme. It was, yeah, there were some really beautiful garments. Now, the first pattern challenge, was to make plus fours. Now, I knew that plus fours were trousers, but I didn't really know the specifics of like what plus fours were. It turns out that the reference is to how far they come below the knee. So then how much leg you're flashing underneath. And I had a look at some patterns. I mean, I don't know how much people want a pair of plus fours, but what I did find, because what I loved about them is I liked the design at the top. So the sort of fly front and the pleats I thought was really nice, and the finishing. So I had a little look and I settled on the Sew Over It Peggy trousers for those sort of details. And then what I found was a tutorial from Vintage Bush on YouTube, which I will link down below, on how to turn an existing pair of trousers into a pair of plus fours. So you could basically take whatever trouser pattern you have and use that tutorial to change it if you did find yourself needing some plus fours. Now the Peggy trousers I have been admiring for ages. I have them in my pattern stash. I have a bit of a fear of trousers, so I often buy the patterns and then I just put off making them forever, but I am going to make some eventually. The reasons I picked them, they are high-waisted. They have a little paper bag waist. It seems to be more sort of prominent in some of the pictures than the others, so I think it probably depends on the depth you do it and the fabric you use. It has the zip fly. It's elasticated around the back of the waist, so it's nice and comfy, but you still get that sort of like flat front look. It has pleats on the front and it has the pockets as well, and that goes up to a waist of 50 and a hip of 60. So you could just make them as a nice pair of trousers, or you could make them and follow the tutorial to turn them into your own pair of plus fours. Then when it came to the made to measure this week, I decided to just go for some general 1920s-esque patterns, because apart from Yasmin, they sort of went for similar silhouettes, the sort of dropped waist thing, and there aren't actually loads of options in this category because a lot of the sort of flapper style dress patterns are they're like from vintage patterns and the sizing isn't great. So there probably are some out there, but I couldn't find any with my looking. So I decided to just do, if you're going for a 1920s vibe, some things you could do. Now I made a dress. I love the sort of, specifically the Art Deco aesthetic. A dropped waist looks terrible on me, but I love the sort of black and gold and like dark greens and that glamour. And I made a concert dress earlier this year using, the fabric was very Art Deco inspired, but the silhouette, it was a fabric on with a peony gown, dress, that I then turned into a gown. So I'll put a picture of that here. So again, this is a way how, if you've got like a 1920s party to go to and you maybe don't feel like that silhouette is your thing, I feel like there are ways to nod to it just by choosing the right fabric, or you could use like fringing or whatever. So that's something that I've made before. Some other things I came up with, I found a tutorial by Fresh Frippery. So on her blog there are tutorials to make both a 1920s slip dress and a 1920s sort of dropped waist flapper style dress, and both of those tutorials tell you how to draft those to your own measurements, so they can be for any size, which I think is really good. Again, the link to that will be down below in the video description. I then found the Stylark Porter woven dress. Now this to me it gave like a nod to Yasmin's dress. I loved that sailor outfit. I thought it was beautiful, and it looked just like the pleats on the sort of skirt, and it just looked really well sewn. And this dress has the dropped waist. It's got the option to have little bows down the front, and it's got these little puff sleeves. I just thought sort of, it obviously doesn't have the specific sailor vibe, but I just felt like the silhouette was sort of giving something similar. And drafting for Stylark is really good, and that goes up to a bust of 67 3/4, a waist of 61 and a hip of 70 inches. So great size range. Now, the other look that I thought might have been quite fun for a 1920s theme was to do like a more androgynous look. So, sort of like a wide-legged tailored trouser and a waistcoat. I mean, you could also then do, if you didn't want to just wear it like that, you could do like a smoker's jacket or like a shirt to wear underneath. Um, but yeah, I thought there's something that could be cool with that. You could do like a finger wave hair and like cigarette holder or something. I don't know, but I just thought that could be a cool aesthetic, and like a slightly different take rather than doing the dropped waist thing. And there are a couple of sort of waistcoat patterns out there. If you're in the Cashmere Club, they have one. I can't remember the name of it, but they have one, and obviously the sizing is good, and it has cup sizes and things, so that's good. But I also really love the look of the True Bias Quinn vest. Now this comes in lots of different views, so I was thinking for this that the proportions of the shortest vest would be the best, with like sort of wide leg trousers, but they're sort of a shorter waistcoat, a longer one, and a dress version. So there's loads of options. I think that looks like a really nice pattern actually. It has princess seams, and yeah, it's just cute. So that goes up to a bust of 59.5 inches, a waist of 52.5 inches, and a hip of 61.5 inches. And then for the trousers, I shopped around a bit. I twice found trousers that I thought were perfect, but they were both from brands who have since sized up, but those patterns had not been sized up. And then I settled on the Closet Core Mitchell trousers. Now, these have different views. They've got like a slimmer fit option and a wide leg option. They're high-waisted, front fly zipper, front fly zipper. They have the option of a hook and bar or a button closure. I think the button closure is like more vintagey, obviously, but you could do whatever. They've got the deep front pleats, angle pockets, and at the back they have darts and the option for welt pockets on the back. And yeah, I just thought the proportions of that were really nice. I sort of want to be the person who wears the, like, I used to have a waistcoat when I was a teenager, and I have to say I looked banging in it. It really suited my figure. It was sort of a time of wearing business casual. I don't know why, just for social events. But yeah, I sort of love the idea of having like the waistcoat and then the voluminous trousers. So maybe for some occasion I will have that outfit. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. It's the final next week. So the last video will be next week. I won't spoil who's in it, but it's all very exciting. One of my faves made it through to the end, so that's great. And yeah, I'm excited to watch what they do. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, as always, if I've missed any patterns that you think would be perfect for this theme, please do mention them below. I do some research, but there's a limit to what I can find, and sometimes there are pattern companies that I'm maybe not so aware of that don't come up when I search, who might have something perfect. So do let me know if you know of any. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.